What's up, guys? Welcome back. We got a lot of things going on. First, we got Carney's first couple of weeks in office.
Yeah, I feel like the Dems in the States wish this guy was their president.
Right? The left-wing media love this guy. He also had a meeting with Trump. Then we got India and Pakistan's conflict.
Yeah, very unfortunate situation there.
Yeah, it escalated quickly, and then seems like there's a ceasefire deal that's already agreed upon.
Yeah.
Next, we got a little bit of an update with what's going on with the Conservative Party in Canada.
Yeah, seems like Poilievre won't be in the House until the fall.
Yeah, and Andrew Scheer is the guy they've chosen for the interim leader. And then the unemployment rate in Canada keeps going up.
Yeah, things are getting really ugly, really quick.
It's not just about the grads anymore like we were talking about last week. By this summer, probably gonna get bad for everybody. Next, we got good old Joe Biden with some thoughts on Kamala Harris.
He also thinks that he would have beat Trump.
He thinks a lot of things, bro. I don't know who believes that. Then we got Paul Pierce saying marriage is for old people.
Yeah, I don't think he should be handing out marriage advice to anyone.
Why not? He's been married before.
End of word.
And last, we got the Met Gala.
Punjabi aage hoye.
The only reason Punjabis cared about it. After all that, what do we have for off topic?
So we got stories on Lady Gaga, Rick Ross, and a couple other things.
And stay tuned for the question segment at the end.
We'll give you our thoughts and opinions on all of that. So let's get right into it with Mark Carney's first couple of weeks in office. Whether you guys like him or not, this is the guy. And he went to Trump right away in D.C., and here's a clip of how they're meeting with him.
Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages. But it would be a massive tax cut, and it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
True. And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, you know, they were low and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like right after that, he kind of went into the left-wing media just kind of started loving Carney, right? You had, I think, the Daily Show, they were talking about him, saying that he friend-zoned Trump, right? And then you had, I think Seth Meyers was even saying a couple of things. CNN was loving Carney. and it was all positive things.
Even here in the media, they were just like, "Oh, Trump went there to tell him who's boss," or sorry, Carney went there to tell him who's boss.
Yeah,
a lot of that, right? Because we only have left-wing media.
yeah. I mean, they made it seem like they wanted him to be president.
Yeah,
right. But like, regardless, I think. So, I voted conservative, right? And even if you did, you have to be on Team Canada, right?
Yeah.
When he goes there, you don't want this guy to fail because
sure.
then Canada's failing, right?
Yeah.
We could disagree on issues within the country, but when it comes to geopolitical issues, right? Like, why wouldn't you want this guy to get a good tariff deal if it's possible, right?
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there hoping that he fails or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the side that you voted for. But I do feel like no matter who would have went there, even if Poilievre won, Trump would have kind of acted the same.
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of like what we were talking about before when we were saying that, what's it called? That once the election's over, this guy's going to kind of backtrack, right? Now he's saying military and he's saying all of these things, like how Canada steps up there, right? Nothing has really changed much since before the election till now.
Yeah, like how's he even saying that they stepped up their military? What is that based on?
I think it's these destroyers that they bought, the
Yeah.
F-35s, but all of that was before the elections,
Okay.
right? Nothing's happened in these 2-3 weeks since.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Even when he went there in the meeting, it's not like anything changed at all. Even the 51st state rhetoric, he still kind of brought it up. He didn't dismiss it entirely. So, the media ran with it, just backing him, left-wing media specifically. But I don't think he got much. These tariffs were always a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
Like we knew they were. What they established a trade deal now with UK, and they're probably going to get one done with Canada sooner than later.
I mean, it seems like this whole trade war has turned into China versus the U.S., right?
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a while, right?
Yeah.
So it's in the U.S.'s best interest wherever they have allies, especially with these geopolitical tensions now,
Yeah.
right? We've seen what happened with Pakistan, India,
For sure.
what's going on in the Middle East, Israel, Palestine, what's going
All
on in
over, it
Ukraine,
seems
right?
like.
There's ceasefires happening, yeah. But, I mean, with all of that going on, you need your actual allies who align with you to remain your friends, right? Why would you want to make it so you don't have any allies, right? So I feel like he knows that a little bit, and Trump's being Trump, right? These tariffs aren't also that popular anymore,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of people look at them as kind of like attacking their country, right? And it's making things expensive, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, the one thing I should mention is that Canada could have taken some advantage of this, right? When it comes to tariffs in China and stuff like that, right? There's a couple of these articles that started coming out when I was reading up on how there's Canadian warehouses that might stock up on Chinese goods, right? Because it's too expensive to import them into the U.S.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Canada has tariffs on them.
Yeah.
So all those things could come to Canada, right? Which
Yeah.
is kind of a good thing for Canada, I guess, depending on how you look at it, right?
I guess so, but you're kind of undercutting your partner at the same time with the U.S. I don't know if they're going to appreciate that. But I saw some videos, too, of like the first shipment that came from China, and it was like half of what they usually get.
Yeah,
And then obviously that's going to trickle down now, right?
for sure.
Half the shipments come in,
Yeah.
half of it's transported that they're used to, and that just trickles down.
And then you'll also hear the controversial things about how this is what Carney wants because he's been to China. He's gotten a $250 million loan from them for Brookfield. And I mean, who actually knows what's true, right? But on a geopolitical level, if Carney is able to get any kind of deal done, I feel like Trump would have, it doesn't matter what the election campaigns were.
Yeah.
Poilievre and Carney, they're going to end up faring basically the same when it comes to Trump, right?
Yeah.
One thing Carney knows, though, he's playing kiss ass. Right?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
much as the left-wing media tried to make it seem like, oh, no, he went there and checked him. If Trump gets any inkling that that's what happened, he'll reverse course.
Right away. And I think he knows that, and he did it.
Yeah, that's why he's doing it.
That's why he kind of got it back. And it's not like he was calling him the governor. He kept referring to him as prime minister, right? That's the one thing.
I feel like that was something to do with Trudeau. I don't know what the hell Trudeau
Same,
did that pissed this guy off so
I think
much.
it's Melania,
right?
man.
but did you guys see that he did refer to Chrystia Freeland?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Carney
Her
stayed
and
quiet.
Trudeau.
Yeah. And like even here I saw the media say things like, oh, did you see his face? Like he was so annoyed.
Yeah.
Like if you're annoyed, say something then.
Right.
Just because like if your face is annoyed, that's nothing. Right.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if that's you and somebody's talking, either say that she's right or say that she's wrong, right? You don't get any points for being like just sitting there and being like,
yeah. I feel like it was overblown, like how successful he was.
Of
Like
course
you're
it
saying,
was,
I think
man.
Polyev or him, it would have been the same. His real problem was with Trudeau, and he got him out of there.
and we've talked about it before, right? There's no legacy media in Canada that's really doing anything, right? So
Yeah.
like, you're not going to get any reports from the opposite side, especially here,
Yeah.
right? You're just going to get one narrative.
I swear,
right?
even in the beginning of this meeting, he took credit for the win. He's like, I think you have me to thank or whatever.
Yeah,
Carney
yeah,
just kept rolling his eyes.
But he's not wrong. I don't think Carney would have won this election if it wasn't for Donald Trump, if I'm being
He
honest.
takes credit for everything. though.
Who, Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, because I think he causes so many problems that you have to put out, right?
And when they're resolved, he gets to take credit for them.
Let's move on to the India and Pakistan conflict.
Yeah.
So, 5 militants from Pakistan go into India and kill 26 men. Only men, right?
Only
and they let
men,
the women live, right?
Yeah.
Then India bombs Pakistan,
Yeah.
right? And then tensions between Pakistan and India are nothing new,
Yeah.
right? We've seen this go on for decades,
For
right?
sure.
But then after all that's happening, the entire world is terrified and things are kind of getting a little escalated. They're getting a little bit crazier. And then you get the tensions, or why everyone was so locked in is also because both these are nuclear powerhouses, right? They
for
both
sure.
have nukes,
Yeah,
right? And while all that's going on, Trump announces a tweet,
Yeah.
right? At 8 a.m. on Saturday, he goes, after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay. Another thing he took credit for, I guess. It was pretty, like, I don't know if you heard about it, but the things that they were making them do, this group, apparently they were making them, like, making sure they were Muslim before they killed them. So
Yeah.
making them recite some religious stuff. And like you said, they only chose to kill the men. And to my knowledge, Pakistan refused to accept any involvement in it. They still have not accepted any of it. And yeah, that's the scariest part of all this thing. Like what they have, like the nukes, and then geopolitically, obviously.
Yeah, you have countries like China, Russia, and the US, right? They would have heavily been involved if this thing kept escalating, right?
Yeah.
Reason being, I think around approximately 81% of Pakistan's military equipment's imported from China,
Yeah.
right? And then Apple, we all saw what happened. They're in the process of moving all their iPhone
That's the
production
other thing.
from
Yeah,
China
yeah.
to India.
So the timing of it's a little strange.
Yeah,
right?
and then to make it even more complicated, India imports, I think, somewhere around 40% or a vast majority of their military equipment and their oil from
Yeah.
Russia,
Yeah.
right? And then you have the U.S., right? You saw J.D. Vance go to India, what was it, a couple weeks ago, right? And they're negotiating trade deals there, right? So there's a lot of things happening. It seems like India's making some Western allies, right? I don't know what's going to happen there. There's tensions between India and Canada, right?
Yeah.
It seems like there could be a leeway for Canada to have somewhat of a relationship with China, even though maybe that's not what you want.
Yeah.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's like a weird place, right? So this war, when it happens, there's a lot of countries looking at it geopolitically as like, there's a lot of moving pieces, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's kind of like a chess game, right? There's a lot of proxy wars going on, a lot of shit going on, right? It's not as simple as just being like, it's Muslims versus Hindus, Pakistan versus India. Right?
Even Kashmir itself, right? I think China has tried to lay claim to parts of it.
They have like a small region is part
Yeah.
of China. Part of it is Pakistan, and then a part of it is India.
Yeah.
And then the attack was in Kashmir, in the part that India owns. And they said it's from Pakistan, but they're not taking.
Yeah. So there's that too, right? So they're kind of involved in that. Like, I think Trump, he said too, he's like, they've been fighting over it for decades, even centuries. I don't know about centuries,
Yeah, that makes no sense.
but it has been decades. It's been going on like every day. They're at that border, gunfire, everything, right?
I mean,
It's one of the most heavily based military like places. Like
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah.
you look, you just see army.
Right.
Yeah.
Army. It's
Right.
wild.
Which
Right.
is very sad because like it's a very beautiful
Yeah.
country.
For sure, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
region.
yeah, I feel like to centuries, like the conflict between Muslims and Hindus go back way back.
Yeah, but
right?
India and Pakistan don't go back though.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension there for a long time. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trump usually doesn't know everything he's talking about. He just pulls things out of the air.
He also thought Ovechkin was Canadian, right?
Right? You saw that, right? When I saw that thing, that was the first thing I heard. And I was like, I was dying laughing.
He's like, you guys also got that guy in DC.
Yeah. Who broke a record the other day, right? And I was like, is he talking about Ovechkin? He knows Ovechkin's Russian, right? Like, he's not Canadian.
It's funny, man. This guy just talks. But even the ceasefire, like, there's already reports that they violated it. And we already know what happened with Ukraine, how long these things last. Who knows? Hopefully. I think they corroborated it, right? Somebody on Pakistan's side, they said.
Yeah. They said that they acknowledged the ceasefire deal, right? But where it's different here is that I don't think you're going to get so much funding from the West, right?
Yeah.
It's more so it can impact you because of things in those countries,
exactly.
India, and how it's heavily involved with iPhones and all this stuff that's happening, China and stuff like I mentioned before. That's the fear there, right? It's not like Ukraine. I don't think India needs money from the West, right, for its military, right? They have enough military to fight Pakistan. They don't need that, right? Even India's military is arguably as Russia, India, China, right? And that's the other level of this. They're all part of BRICS, right? There's a lot of things going on.
So many
there,
layers, and even what you said before with the I think one of somebody in their government, I don't know his official title, but he came out and said that our nukes aren't sitting here to just be in museums.
Right.
We're not scared to use them, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
Anytime something like that gets said, it's scary, right? Because, and then there's always this talk about even Americans, like, worry about America. In a way, when you're worried about these other countries, you're looking out for yourself in a way, because a nuke being dropped is not good for anyone.
You definitely are. I mean, we are of the Sikh faith, right?
Yeah.
And between Sikhs and Hindus, there's been a little bit of a conflict, to say the least.
For sure.
It's been going on for decades as well.
Yeah.
Right. And even when you look at this, you look at it objectively, and it has nothing to do with Hindus, Muslims, or that's not how we are in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. In Canada, I have friends of every religion, every culture.
For sure.
Right. We know people of every religion, every culture. We don't have problems with anybody.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there's not prior conflicts that used to exist.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in India during those times. So when you look at that, there's a lot of tensions, there's a lot of complications, there's a lot of people that feel
many layers.
there's so
They're
many layers to
also
this.
bringing those tensions here. Like, I've seen videos of people
Yeah.
just blowing it out of proportion.
Right.
It's not a conflict of religion, but they've made it that.
For sure.
Right.
That part of it sucks too. I do see that, and people online were talking about it. Like,
Right.
you don't need to bring any of that here, man. If you're so inclined, you can go there.
Exactly.
Right? Why'd you come to Canada?
Well, I feel like a part of that's a little complicated, because when it comes to Sikhs specifically, they feel like, a lot of them, like our dad, right, has always felt like he didn't have a home in India, right? And Canada's more so his home, right? And then when a lot of BS comes here and like it kind of hits your door here, you're kind of like, what the hell's going on? Right? But that doesn't mean that, like, for me, born and raised here, right? Grew up here, everything's here. I have Hindu friends, right? We go to each other's birthday parties, each other's kids' birthday parties and stuff, right? Like, we invite them over. I know their wives and family. They know my parents.
For sure.
My parents aren't weird around them, right? Like, there's no kind of animosity there towards a religion or whatever, right? But there's always going to be this little bit of a disdain depending on where you fall when it comes to India and Sikhism, and a lot
for sure
that's happened there, right?
And
that is stuff that people don't forget. So that's why you're going to get a lot of pushback, religiously speaking, right? Right or wrong, doesn't matter where you fall on. You have to understand that there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering there, right? So that's where it comes from. Like people in the Western civilization, they might not even know all the layers there are. Oh, they don't know. They
There's
they
a lot
just think we're one person. Everybody's the same.
Even this thing happening, a lot of the times they just need a reason, right? And India was saying they were going to cut off their water supply, and that's on one of their lists of things that they can use
nukes for.
So scary, a lot of tension there.
Yeah, it's a crazy week for sure when it comes to like this escalating and then just kind of the ceasefire deal, right?
For sure.
And all these wars that keep popping off. Hopefully no more new wars keep popping up, man.
Or like so long lasting, right? Like, look at the one in Ukraine.
Right.
Yeah, you don't even realize. It's been a while, man.
So long.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the Conservative Party in Canada. So it looks like Poilievre won't be in the House until at least the fall, and they chose Andrew Scheer as the interim leader. If you guys don't know, this guy is a guy who's been the leader of the Conservative Party before. He actually lost the elections to Trudeau in 2019. None of that is like really big news. I did read that Poilievre also rejected a severance package of $150K that is available to MPs who lose their riding. Yeah. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's basically running in Alberta, so it's like he's transferring seats, right? So it's not, there's nothing really there.
I heard about that though, but like, why pass that up, right? I didn't really get that part of it. It's because he's coming back into the office.
Yeah, he's coming back in office anyways, right? He's gonna win that seat anyways. He's gonna be on a salary anyways, right? So it doesn't make sense to.
So he might have had to forfeit it back, or
he could have. I don't know what the tax rules are there exactly, right? But like
must be a reason.
It's also optics, right? It looks kind of like you're gonna take another man's seat and get paid. Like politically, that's like suicide.
Who was supposed to get his pension too?
For
like
sure.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, but then I feel like the one thing to talk about here, though, is that I've read this article on how apparently certain conservative MPs are saying that now they want to show, or the next time they want to sell the softer side of Poilievre.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Do these guys just not learn anything?
I don't know. I felt like he was a little too soft. I thought that was the problem here this time around.
Yeah, he wasn't making the big moves.
Yeah, I thought he didn't go all in, and he was going to come back around and go all in.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right move.
Yeah.
But all these guys are behind them. Even Scheer, he essentially said he's just keeping the seat warm.
Yeah.
Right? And then he has backing from the party. But if everyone agrees on that stance, I don't agree with it personally.
Andrew Scheer ran for prime minister, right?
Yeah. He lost.
No.
I think he also, same situation. I think he lost his seat too, or his riding.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure.
Okay, let's move on to the unemployment rate that keeps climbing in Canada. Right? I think it climbed all the way up to 6.9%. And if you look at Ontario, it's all the way up to 7.8% now.
0.3% jump. If you look at it provincially, some of them are pretty wild. And if you see like the border states get impacted a lot, or obviously Newfoundland's impacted by trade too, right? So that's up to like 9.6, but 6.9 overall. That's just April. Percentage point changes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with the temporary jobs that were kind of available because of these elections.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like once these elections
They
go away.
shouldn't be able to count those. I feel like that's not fair.
Yeah, but that's kind of the way it works. I think by the summer, like I was reading, a lot of economists are predicting that's going to get into the high sevens for, nationally across Canada.
Yeah.
Right? Look at Ontario, you're already at 7.8%. Like, it's a pretty dangerous spot, right? Especially these interest rates aren't coming down low enough, right? The longer this tariff war goes on, right? Because it has a lagging effect, right? Even if you lower interest rates, right, for companies to go and like actually start to hire people, pay off some debt, and actually want to grow, it takes months, right? And quarters, right? Like it doesn't just happen like overnight just because you lower interest rates, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the like we were saying before, even with China, right? The shipments coming in, it takes a second, but this trade war, this is how slowly it starts to take effect, and then it gets real fast. If they're expecting this thing to be high sevens by the end of the summer, that's a lot. It's gonna, like, where's it gonna put the BOC, right? Rock in a hard place, right? Even the Fed just recently paused their rates too, and they said that they're going to be eventually forced to choose between unemployment or inflation. Which one do they want to solve, right? Kind of have both at the same time, right?
The Fed's heading into stagflation, right? That's kind of their problem. In Canada, we have a completely different problem. I think household debt is way too high, and I think if people are at the risk of losing their jobs, or even some of them do, and that's what's happening, it seems like even companies these days are starting to make workers work double as hard after they let somebody go instead of hiring new people, right? And if you get fired, you know that there's a lineup of people that want your job, right? It makes it incredibly difficult, puts on a lot of pressure. These houses aren't selling quick enough, so even if you're in a tough spot and need to sell your house, it's much more difficult, right, to even flip your house, right? So the timing of all of these things is kind of like the perfect storm to like spiral the country into a recession, right? I mean, we're no economists, but like, to me, this isn't the time you want to, you know, all of that work from home, job hopping stuff. This isn't the time for that. I wouldn't be doing any of that. This is when you show you're a valuable worker, so nobody wants to, you know, fire you. You don't fall on any CEO's radar or anything like that, you know? Unemployment
keeps going up. You gotta hold on to the job that you have, right? I've been saying it.
Hopefully things get a little bit better and doesn't last too long. Let's move on to good old Joe Biden. So here's a clip of Biden on The View. He's giving his thoughts on Kamala Harris.
And it was like 2016 all over again. So why do you think the vice president lost, and were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president, and she is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. But I was surprised, I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is a woman, she's this, she's that. I mean, it really, I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country, and a woman of mixed race. And they played that to a fairly well. In addition to that, one of the things happened, if you notice, and I'm going to be shorter, okay? I promise. Okay. She said, "Don't be Joe Biden, be short."
I said that to him.
Anyway, make a long story short, all kidding aside, think about it. Liberal democracies all across America, all across the world lost last time. All across America. I think we underestimate the phenomenal negative impact that COVID had and the pandemic had on people, on attitudes, on optimism, on a whole range of things. So I was very disappointed, and but I wasn't surprised. And the only thing that surprised me is the excess to which they've gone in some of the attacks they've made.
So this guy goes on to be Joe Biden again, right? He kind of went on a rant. But this is the most like put together I've seen.
I was just gonna say that.
Right?
Yeah, I think
years.
the rest got like it was good for him. Taking a little break from being president.
Or whatever they put him on.
He wasn't slurring as much, I thought. I could understand what he was saying.
But why is he even on the talk show?
I don't know.
Isn't he out of the public eye now? He can go retire.
I mean, look at Obama. Obama goes everywhere.
Yeah, but Obama's young. He's old. And Obama, like when he presents himself, he like looks like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but like Joe Biden was also on it for a little bit. They were both on it, so maybe they're promoting something or something.
He also did a BBC interview. He was talking about Ukraine. He was kind of going on about a few things there as well. I feel like he has these hit or miss moments when he's talking. He fumbles his words sometimes he doesn't. Sure. It's kind of like having a grandpa, right? Like, you know how it is, right? But like this notion that Kamala Harris didn't get elected simply because she's a female is pretty stupid, right? Like, I don't think it had anything to do with that, to me, right? I think she didn't get elected because she kept going and repeating the same stupid message everywhere she went, right? Like, I think she was doing good until the debate, right? And it's a little bit of the criticism that people gave Poilievre a little bit, right? When he kept having the same sort of, you know, speech and he wouldn't like get off of it, right? And anytime Kamala Harris was asked about policy, she basically had nothing, right? Like, she had nothing. Like, nobody even knew what she stood for, really, right? She was just hoping that people just vote Democrat, right? And he's saying that he wasn't he wasn't surprised that she lost, is what he said. When you saw Kamala Harris, I think I was reading something about her and what was the VP that she was running with, the guy. They were like distraught in their hotel room. Like, what? We lost?
They thought they were gonna win. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
They were close enough in the polls. Like, of course they were shocked. It's not that they weren't.
Yeah, I mean, what we do know is that Joe Biden would 100% lost. Right? Like,
he even said in that interview, he's like, I would have beat him.
Yeah.
He's just like, but that night, I had a bad night. During the debate. Like, yeah, you had a little bit of.
You guys remember that debate? He's just looking into the sky. It was bad.
I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying.
What do you mean?
I do think a part of why she lost was because she was female, because she wasn't white. Like, I do believe race and sex had to do with it.
Yeah.
Really?
She was also.
I don't think she was the most qualified.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. She didn't have enough of a platform or able to voice that platform. But I do think being a female had to do with it.
But that's also more subjective. Like, people have to be more invested in the platform to know that she doesn't have one. But they're just looking at it like, oh, she's a woman, and that's why I'm not going to vote for her. I don't think America's ready for America.
I think it was an easy win for Donald Trump. I don't think he had to work that hard.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I believe.
I tend to disagree with that, because when Hillary Clinton was running against Donald Trump during the first elections, right?
Right.
The polls were saying that Hillary Clinton was going to take that. In fact, during election night, when it came out that Donald Trump actually won, half of the world was shocked.
Yeah.
And if you look at the popular vote, it was going Hillary's way. Right, so I'll completely disagree that it has to do with I don't think it has anything to do with women winning an election, right? I think it has more so to do with she slid in, right? They took Biden down, she slides in, kind of like what happened with Carney.
It worked out for him.
It worked out for him because it was a short campaign cycle.
Yeah.
That was slightly longer.
Yeah.
Like, you saw how Poilievre was catching up in the polls, right? If this thing dragged on for like 4 or 5 more weeks, we might have a different prime minister.
Yeah, the polls were changing a lot.
The liberals, I think they saw that and they're like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Right? If we're going to do this, we're going to get on it and like finish this thing quick, right?
I mean, it was a lot of the same that Poilievre got critiqued for too, right? Softball interviews. She was just scared to get out there, and she kept saying the same thing, middle class girl.
Well, what she did was she also contradicted a lot of the things, right? Like that she would say, right? She would just say one thing and then say a completely different thing, right? And then like this whole thing with like, you had a lot of people on the right just show you a clinic on how to handle legacy media, right? That was when podcasters came out. It wasn't just Joe Rogan, it wasn't just Nelk, it was Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, all of these right-wing political commentators, Ben Shapiro. And if you're talking about easy win, Donald Trump was the guy was on every single podcast like leading up to the election. I think this guy would do campaign rallies, podcasts, like he would go in, right? Like he worked for that election. I don't think it was an easy win for him by any means.
I think he could have not done all that and still won.
I think you're wrong. No. I think like in order to beat, that's just my personal opinion. In order to beat legacy media, right? You saw what Poilievre did here, right? If Poilievre wanted to beat him, Poilievre needed his face out there 24/7, not just on Canadian podcasts. It would have worked with Canadian podcasts if there was platforms that had millions of subscribers, right? That had a voice that was so massive and it was from the right, then it would have worked, right? Because he could have gone on 2 or 3 of them, or somebody who was more in the middle. But if you're fighting legacy media, it's going to be very hard to beat that, right?
Yeah.
But let's move on to what do we got next? Paul Pierce. So he was on a podcast giving his opinions on marriage, and here's a clip.
This is the thing, and listen carefully. Listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Relationships. Let me tell you what marriage is all about. Or let me tell you what marriage is, and who's marriage for. Marriage is for old people and poor people.
Okay, so let's get into that. Why?
Old, so I guess we're poor.
Because when you broke, our parents, like my moms and all them, they married on a merit of like, okay, we're gonna put our incomes together, have all these kids, and then when our kids, we're gonna have 5-10 kids. Back in the 60s, all them, they're gonna have 5-10 kids so they can work and bring income.
Yeah.
So you poor. So you married for that. And now when you get old, somebody that to be by your side to take care of you. Right now, my mom got married. My mom never been married in my lifetime. She got married when she was 70.
Wow.
It was perfect. She had somebody by her side the whole way through.
So do you...
I really believe that. Like, that's what, like, outside of that, it's no advantage to a man. Why is marriage an advantage? What advantage? What does it do for a man when things go south? Like, we gonna have to give up half our this, pay child support, but it's only advantageous to a woman. Like, it's real talk.
But what if you meet a woman and you're like, wow, she's a gem, she's valuable, she's everything, and I want to lock her down in marriage?
I don't want to lock no woman down. We could be cool.
So you're telling me right now today,
you
on January 4th, you do not want to be in a relationship ever again?
I don't think it's realistic long term until I turn 70. This is the thing, and listen carefully. Listen carefully.
Yeah. So, honestly, I think if it's gonna come to divorce, like if he's been through it, I think he's looking at it specifically just from a financial situation, right? And if you're gonna look at it just financially, if you didn't sign a prenup, you're a basketball player, you're the rich one, right? Like, yeah, it's not gonna go your way when it comes to money, right? So I see what he's saying, right? But a marriage isn't just for money. I don't know who thinks that, like, I didn't get married and start getting rich. That's not how life goes. I didn't get the memo.
Especially if you're a basketball player, right? You're already a millionaire. You think you're going to get wealthier through marriage. You're already wealthy. You're already rich, right?
What a knock on his, like, baby mama, wife of so many years. Like, it's so mean. I don't know why it ended. Like, I don't know if there was any.
I don't know either. Divorces are ugly, man.
He got
divorced
know what happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He just seems petty.
Still, right?
He seems super petty to me.
Yeah.
He has
Seems
5
like
children
personal
with this.
projection of, like, his marriage failed, so he thinks that
all marriages are set up to fail.
And, like, think about, for instance, your mom getting married at 7 years old. That's weird. That's not something you want.
Yeah.
No, because you haven't gotten to know a person long enough, right? And now you're gonna get married when you're 7. It's like marrying a friend.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, it's weird, right?
No, but, like, why are you gonna get married at 70? Just get a caretaker. If that's all, it seems like the only thing he wants to get married for is someone to take care of him when he's 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, his situation looks like he probably went through a rough divorce. Like, we don't know the guy, right?
Yeah.
But, like, that's probably what happened, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna take all your money, and then you are gonna feel this way because there are vindictive people out there, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what could have happened, right, with kids and all that stuff, right? Maybe he's done with it, right? But this idea that marriages are just for, what did he say, poor people and old people is ridiculous, right? Like, I think there's been studies that show that married couples actually often experience better physical health, mental health, right? You have sustained stability, right? And increased economic stability, right? And a stronger overall sense of satisfaction, right? Of life, right? But at the end of the day, I feel like it depends on the person that's getting married, right? Like, I think it's different from person to person. There's a lot of people out here that get married just because they see everyone else around them getting married and they think that's what you're supposed to do. So they go and get married, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not something you wanted, right? You have to know who you are as a person, right? If the nuclear family, right, of a husband, wife, kids, if that's what you want, right? Traditional values, morals, right? You have something you want to build, you want to grow, right? That's different, right? That's something you have to want that. If that's something you want in life, then nothing's going to fill a friend, he's saying, a female companion, that's not going to fill that void.
He's like, we'll be cool.
Yeah, that's not going to work, right?
I mean, if you go into marriage simply for financial gain, like, what do you expect out of it?
Yeah, it's like he's treating it like it's a financial transaction and minimizing, like, the emotional, like, other reasons people get married.
Exactly.
Not just to combine their finances.
Yeah. And maybe he didn't have a prenup or something. I don't know. He's worried about finances.
We talked about prenups before. If she's going to take half, right, then that's on him.
And if you're somebody who's that wealthy, like, you shouldn't go into a marriage without a prenup.
No.
It should be understood beforehand that there's going to be a prenup.
Right.
Right? I have too much to lose.
Yeah.
What do you
100%.
It's your own mistake if you didn't do that, right? I don't know.
And one thing about prenups also, I feel like, is that it holds both parties, you know, it holds you both to a higher standard, right? Because you know if you leave, you're not gonna just leave with half.
Yeah.
Right? You know if you're going to sabotage this relationship, that there's a likelihood that you're not gonna get as much money, the lifestyle. So you fight for it a little bit more.
And
on
you
both
avoid
sides,
this whole gold digging scenario problem, right?
Right.
Like it doesn't happen.
But yeah,
he just seems petty to me, man.
I mean, that's his choice, right? We're pro marriage because we are married to wives.
You have to be.
But yeah, let's move on to the Met Gala. So this thing happens every year.
Yeah.
Nobody really understands what it is. I mean, we sort of know what it is. A bunch of rich people get together, they have a dinner, and it's for a just cause, right? It's supposed to be a charitable event, right?
It's a fundraiser for the Met Museum.
Yeah, I think that's just a title there, so I don't feel bad for dressing up.
It's a costume party for a bunch of elitists.
But primarily like a section of the Met where there's just costumes. Like it's not.
That's where the donations go, right?
Yeah, it's not like a super beneficial.
So it's a costume party where they donate to costumes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a place to go and dress up, wear a costume.
For the preservation of art.
Yeah.
Right. And even then, like a lot of their donations are misrepresented. I think like a couple of years ago they had a record-breaking 61 million that people that donated, right? And when you look under the curtain, the tax filings year ended that year, they filed that only 28 or 29 million was actually donated. And when I think the Times did a piece on it, and when you went and go read up on it, it says something along the lines that there was people that were so encouraged that they donated before the event.
Oh, they were that
and
encouraged.
Yeah, it happens all the time, right? And then they'll represent their expenses, and they'll be like, oh, it's 5 or 6 million or whatever. That's how much it costs to run the. There's actually no evidence of like how much it costs to put on these things, right? Like some of these celebrities that come there with these outfits, like their outfits alone combined with what's going on, it's not a net positive, right? So like it's kind of, and not to mention it's Vogue's PR stunt, right? It's been it's put on by Vogue, right? So I feel like my whole thing with the Met is like, I like sports, right? If I'm gonna make it seem like it's somehow virtuous for me to watch basketball, right, I'd expect my wife to be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's just a sport,
it's
right?
a hobby.
And I don't think there's a problem with liking sports, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's people, not just women, but like men too, right, that are really into fashion, right? Just say you're into fashion. Like, what's wrong with that, right?
Fine,
but like this whole, like, that's where you always get the discourse with the Met Gala every single year. Yeah. Because there's people that try to frame it as if it's like, noble. Oh, it's so noble.
Well, also,
that's why
like, there's no phones allowed inside the Met Gala. So the only Met Gala we see is the outside steps. So all it is a fashion show.
Yeah, because literally they eat dinner, right? And there's a little performance.
Well, it was Usher. It wasn't a little performance, but
wasn't it last year? Who was it?
Ariana Grande.
Right? They did like the Wicked
like
thing or whatever.
But nobody ever sees these.
You're not allowed. You actually get kicked out of next year if you bring a cell phone. Like people, like the famous bathroom pictures.
Those people get banned.
They get banned.
Really? And doesn't it cost like 300 something grand just to like?
It's like 75,000 for a ticket. But it's usually just like these designers that pay for the ticket for celebrities to come wearing their stuff, and it just like helps publicize.
And you have to be invited.
Designer.
It's invite only.
No blows.
So you get invited to spend 75 grand.
But I think the cool thing about it all is the fact that we get to sit here and we get to judge people's outfits, right? Like that's what I guess, like how Paul Pierce says it, the poor people. That's what they do every year. But this year Punjabi people were going nuts, right? Because we all know, right? Diljit Dosanjh, right? But like this guy, I feel like every single Punjabi person on my Instagram, Snapchat, this guy was in everyone's story.
Yeah.
Everyone was proud.
Everyone was way too proud.
Punjabi pride.
Big moment, right? Like you saw Auntie talking about him, right? They have no idea what the Met Gala is.
Like, oh, when I got married, my husband tried to look like that. Like,
tried.
It's something you like. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool because it was like cultural representation brought on a global stage. Like we can sit here and talk about the Met Gala, this, but at the end of the day, it is a very public platform that people watch. Like I grew up watching like the Met looks and all of that. It's exciting to see.
For sure.
But then to see a Punjabi artist just like with his Punjabi attire. It was very cool to see.
That's the coolest part about it, right? Like whatever you think of the Met, it's always nice to see Punjabi representation on a global stage. Like the whole world got to see him, and I thought he looked good.
Yeah, cool. I think whenever you're going to break barriers, like even though we're making fun of the Met and what it stands for, if you see the kind of people that get invited to the Met, they're the uber elite, for sure. Right? They're like you know how like in this world today that we live in, where even celebrity status is kind of grade, right? Yeah. There's like influencers, there's certain people are celebrities, they're not celebrities, right? Yeah. If you look at the kind of people that are invited to the Met, there's no gray area there. These are real celebrities. That's how I see them. For right? Sure. Yeah. So then when you see somebody who's Punjabi Sikh, right, and actually make it to the Met Gala, get invited, yes, right, you are breaking through this barrier, right? It doesn't matter what I'm saying about the Met Gala, right? That's my take on how the Met Gala is viewed from the public eye, right? If you want to have this criticism, right? But that doesn't mean that two things can't be true at the same time, for sure, right? When you have that kind of representation, when you do on a global scale, people recognize you as a culture, as a religion, and I feel like the coolest thing in a whole when it came to this was that he didn't decide to take the route where he just threw on like, I don't know,
like a suit,
a suit or like a hip-hoppy type of trendy outfit, or
they
like
picked the right guy to do it.
He didn't do any of that, right?
He was stuck true to himself, true to his culture,
right?
His religion to a certain extent.
So I feel like that part of it was cool. But I feel like you're about to get a lot of Indian grooms who are going to write a whole bunch of wild shit on the back of their shoulders.
The only knock I'll give him though, so I also feel like this with grooms. You know when they hold the kirpan? I hate when they hold it like a cane. I hate when it touches the floor. I hate to me that's so much disrespect. So that's the only part I didn't like about it. I didn't like he had it on the floor. He was walking around like it was a cane. He had it on his lap while people were like twerking. I don't know. You shouldn't have held it then. I feel like it was disrespectful.
For sure.
But I also grew up in a family where there's put so much respect on it that like that's how I feel about that.
A lot of the time with that, like even with me when I got married, the photographers tell you to like
for sure. A lot of grooms.
I'm sure that's what happened there too.
I feel like there's a lot to that, right? Because if you're going to talk about the traditionalists, then right, then you're going to see somebody who's going to say that, hey, listen, you know, he had Punjabi written on his shawl, right? It's a derivative of Gurmukhi. Like, what do you do when you go to the Gurdwara, right? You sit on the floor, right, because it symbolizes humility, right? It's supposed to teach you this lesson to be humble, right? And when you're at the Met Gala, that's not exactly humble, right? So you're gonna get some pushback from people, right, that think that way, and a lot of it is warranted. But I don't think that, like again, like I'll say, that criticism isn't of Diljit himself, right? That criticism is of the Met versus traditional values and like, you know, religion, right? That has nothing to do with Diljit, right? On a on like for what he's doing. He's putting Punjabi people on the map.
That's the thing,
right? And like you can look at it that way too, right? Because I saw Andre 3000 was he had a piano on his back, right? I don't know what he was trying to symbolize.
Say I got music on
That's
my
what I was saying, right? And like Diljit, he's got Punjabi on his back.
Right? Maybe it's the same type of symbolism, right? And it's not like he wrote out like a shabd, right? It was just
for sure
alphabet.
He didn't mean any malice by it. I'm saying you can do something and people are going to perceive it whichever way they want to, right? And whatever they're going through in life or wherever they are at in life, that's how they're going to take it, right? You can't stop that.
For sure. He could have worn a suit and then all the Punjabi people.
Then it would have been the worst. It would have been the worst.
Shah Rukh Khan went, right? He wore some suit. Right?
A very low cut.
Very low cut.
Because with the Met Gala each year, they have a theme that all the attendees are supposed to embody. And so this year, the theme was super fine tailoring Black style. So they were like celebrating Black style and through the lens of Black dandyism. So that basically means a movement celebrating self-expression, elegance, and cultural pride through fashion. And a lot of like Black dandies, who do have canes. Like they used to wear tailored suits, they used to have canes. So I feel like Diljit kind of took that theme and made it, like embodied it as
his own.
Punjabi, and he took a lot of inspiration from like Maharajas of Punjab. And just like the same way that I guess just the the aspect of Black dandyism was that, they're bringing Black culture and fashion to places that are normally just white, white places. Same way, like, he's bringing this Punjabi culture and, like, our outfits. Like, these are the outfits that Sikh men wear on their weddings.
Yeah.
And he's bringing it to this place where normally it's not.
Yeah. No doubt.
And you guys know it's heavily tailored.
Yeah.
Did you
Super
guys
tailored.
Yeah. So it worked with the theme.
Barely sat down and
I feel like you did a great job
on it. The
Yeah. I mean, that correlation with the cane, that doesn't sit right with me.
It doesn't
but, like,
sit right with me.
Everything else you said,
it shouldn't touch the floor like
that.
Yeah,
it shouldn't even be perceived. But that is also because I'm raised in a very religious, traditional family and household, right?
Yeah.
Where religion has the utmost respect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So to me, if somebody's going to push those buttons, I'm always going to fall on that side.
But I can understand also that other people weren't.
Yeah.
So they don't know.
And if I'm being honest, there's a part in my life where I was on this side or that side, didn't care about certain things and do care about certain things, right? And you change as life goes on, you get wisdom, and right, you can see things from all perspectives, right?
Sure,
So like I see what the message is there, and I feel like through these conversations, you actually see that, like, you know, there's positive discourse, right? Like he's not actually doing anything with any malice intent. He's actually putting Punjabi people, you know, on his back, right? And actually bringing it to the forefront, like Simmer's saying, right? And you're actually showing that, you know, hey, we're here too. Like he always says, Punjabi aage hoye, right?
He also looked really good.
Yeah, he looked great, man.
Yeah. He was like on the Vogue's best dressed list. Like people really liked.
But when he walked the
man.
stage, so they were on him for like a second, but Shakira was right beside him, so they like quickly went to her. When they came back to him, you could only see his back, and he was covered.
Can you blame him though? The guy's probably who the hell is
this? Give him
like
10 more seconds.
Yeah, but that was just the Vogue coverage, and like who really watches that? But there was one other thing about his outfit. So the necklace that he was wearing, is inspired by the Patiala necklace. So that was a necklace commissioned in 1928 by Maharaja Bhupinder Singh of Patiala, and it was crafted by Cartier. And then Diljit's team actually had reached out to Cartier asking if he can borrow it to wear to the Met, but they declined the offer, saying that it's sealed in a museum and too fragile and valuable to be loaned out. But interestingly enough, in 2022, an American influencer, Emma Chamberlain, she wore a part of the choker from the Patiala necklace.
That was just a couple years before that?
Just like 2022.
Yeah, they had no problem giving it to her, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm on Team Diljit over here, right? Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it completely goes with what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to give it to, and I don't know influencers that well. Who is this lady? She's an influencer?
She's a YouTuber influencer, but she was also an ambassador for Cartier, so maybe that's why they loaned it out to her. But it was a lot of discourse online because like Diljit was actually wearing an outfit in tribute to the cultural context of this necklace. Then he got a necklace made from a different jeweler similar to the Patiala necklace because he wasn't able to wear it. But there's so many people online now attacking like Cartier, which I don't completely understand because Diljit was still wearing Cartier stuff on the day. Like his watch was Cartier. He tagged them in his Instagram. So like maybe there's not a problem there.
That doesn't make sense.
People like to make things out of nothing also. Yeah. Like we don't know how much of a conversation was had to gain the necklace.
That's true too, yeah. We don't know how much they actually tried. Maybe they just didn't try hard enough. Maybe the other girl did.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
like, look at when Kim Kardashian wanted to wear Marilyn Monroe's dress.
Yeah.
Like, it's apparently a really fragile dress.
But she got it.
She got it.
She got it. And this other girl got it too. I'm just saying.
And technically, she just got the choker. So maybe, like, there was something about the choker versus the whole thing. Maybe he didn't ask for just the choker.
He didn't get anything.
All or nothing.
Yeah,
right? That's
like,
the thing. We don't know. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. We have anything else on that, or should we move on?
You can move on.
All right.
Move on to sports.
Let's move on to sports.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard about Draymond. What's been going on with him?
Oh, I saw this.
We're always talking about these fan altercations and everything, right? So he apparently had one with a fan, I think.
Yeah, I think there was a fan who was allegedly saying some racial slurs. The security, Draymond, I think, pointed him out. Security kicked him out. And after the game, I think Draymond was kind of heated.
Yeah. I think we have a clip of him.
Angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so this guy he's saying that post-game, right? That they're trying to push the narrative on him. But a lot of people online, even like black men, like Emmanuel Ocho, I don't know if you know him, he does a sports show. He said something interesting. I'm just going to paraphrase what he said. I don't know exactly what he said, but he said that no, he's not exactly an angry black man. He's just a man whose elbow and fists always seem to find the face and chest of his opponent, right? So Draymond knows who he is too, right? He plays with a lot of intensity, right? I think we even have a compilation of all his antics.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Always in the right or wrong place.
I think we get it.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it just, you can't always just use a cop out, I feel like.
I don't think, okay, I'll say this, man. I think Draymond Green plays with a lot of passion, right? I don't think
so too.
He has malice intent, really.
I don't think so either.
Right? I think people come after him because they also know that they can, get him to
Under
get
his
attacked,
skin,
right? They can get under his skin, and he acts a certain way if you do. But he a little bit does do it to himself, right? But then, you can get annoyed with this narrative that even if you're trying not to be angry, especially on a night where a fan calls you a racial slur, right, that you're not supposed to have a reaction, and no matter what you do, they're going to paint you as the angry black man, like you called it, right? I could see how that can get annoying, right? So I could definitely see that side. I'm not going to just write it off as if like he's just Draymond being Draymond, right?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like, you got to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? Like, if you're playing basketball and people keep labeling you as something, right? And then somebody's gonna say something. We don't even know what the guy said, but somebody's gonna say something that's a racial slur,
and you can't react because you're Draymond.
That's you're gonna react, man. You're gonna have a reaction, right? And afterwards, you're gonna be heated, right? But I think on the flip side of it, right, after the Jordan Poole situation, right, and then what was it, Nurkic, when he did that thing, right, even that, then Nurkic comes out and he goes, I think Draymond needs some help or something, and KD kind of doubles down and he goes, I hope he gets the help he needs or whatever. That kind of bullshit, I think that's what he's talking about. Right? You have no need to say that shit, right? It's Draymond being Draymond, right? Like, he's just playing aggressively or, with passion. And he gets text and all that happens, right? And then I think I was listening to Stephen A. talk about the situation a little bit, and he was talking about how, like, when he, got, was it the Jordan Poole or the Nurkic one of the two, where he then had to go through a protocol where he had to talk to a bunch of people, and he was kind of irritated about it. He didn't want to do it, right? And we've all been in those kind of places in life, right? When an employer or everyone has a boss.
For
right?
sure,
everyone, even if you're self-employed, right? Your viewers might be your boss. Somebody's your boss. The economy's your boss. Somebody's your boss, right? And like, so no one likes being told what to do, right? So imagine being put in a position where you feel like you haven't done anything wrong, right? And then people continuously keep telling you need to do this, right? And some other guy gets to tell you, I think he needs some help, and now you're being put through these protocols, and people are trying to give you lessons on how to anger, like. a lot of that can get frustrating as a man.
Yeah,
right. It has nothing to do with being a black man or just as a man. Somebody talking down to you like that, right? And like you can't now. You're not allowed to talk back, right?
Yeah.
So I completely see that side of it.
I think that's what it was. I think it was just frustration that boiled over. Right. He was probably somebody said something pretty vulgar to him, and he's like, now I can't even react. Like he said this shit, I want to react. Right. So it's probably that too. But at the same time, you did this to yourself.
He does do it to
You
himself,
play with a lot of passion, which everyone sees. And off the court, he is successful. Yeah. And he's a lot more like respectful and like calm down. And fans want to see that aggression. You want to see it, right? So it's tricky.
Right.
But you can't, like, some people are going to feel like it's a cop-out when you say something like that, right? But at the same time, I can see both sides, man.
You can definitely see both sides, right? Because on the flip side of it, the Warriors, Steph's out now, right? He's out for a few games. I don't know if he's out for the rest of the series, right?
They said earliest, I think, Game 6.
Yeah, so then if they had any shot in this T-Wolf series, you can't afford to let Draymond, and he gets his 5th technical. I think from what I know, the only person in the NBA history that has more technicals, I think, is Sheed. Yeah. Right, Rasheed Wallace. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't know if anyone else has any more techs, right?
And look at that guy. He was kind of labeled the same way.
He was labeled the same way.
He was involved in Malice of the Palace. Same type of thing.
Yeah, but he was also a fan favorite.
Yeah, he was. Right? So was Draymond.
I think the only thing the biggest thing that spoiled it for a lot of fans even is probably the Jordan Poole thing, right? Like watching that, like a lot of people were a little bit. But then again, like Jordan Poole's like Jordan Poole. Right? Yeah. Like we don't know anything about him, but he's like, I don't know how much of that was gaslighting, what was going on. We don't know the conversations they've had or whatever, right? But yeah, man, it sucks because the Warriors needed Draymond and he did it, getting these texts at a time in the playoffs. Yeah. Sucks, right? But again, two things could be true, right? Like,
for sure.
People could try to label you as something and you keep giving them reasons to do it as well.
Yeah. I mean, this game was close too. Just they lost by like 5. The second one they got blown out. I don't know. It's going to be hard without Steph, and especially if this guy, I think if he gets 2 more attacks, he gets suspended too.
Well, when it comes to basketball, I think we were pretty much wrong on every single thing that we predicted. Right? Yeah. All the podcasts we had talking about sports, we were pretty much wrong across the board.
Every single one. Right? I was like, I can pencil in Boston. Yeah. And then you see what happens with them. They blow 2 20-point leads.
Yeah.
Did you see what Mr. Pierce was saying about that too?
What did he say about that?
I think we have a clip of him too. He made I think he made a bet. If
the Celtics lose game 2 at home, I promise you, Joe, I'm walking here tomorrow. I'm walking here.
Why you gotta do that? Wait a minute.
I'm walking here 15 miles. I'm walking here.
I don't know. Keith, this is your friend.
In my robe.
Get your friends.
No shoes on.
Somebody save him.
Bare feet.
No.
If what? If the Celtics lose tonight. I'm going to need to get this stuff in.
This is him next morning.
Oh, damn. It's nice and right outside. All right.
But he said he would walk barefoot. He has shoes on.
All right, man.
Nobody's going to walk.
Welcome to this journey.
He said?
There I go.
20 miles?
No. He said 15. I think it ended up being...
Get back with y'all in a minute.
Yeah.
But there's also that, like, we don't know if he was actually walking the whole thing. People are like, he's driving in between. He didn't even break a sweat. All this. I don't know. It seemed like he was walking all day and he ended up there.
I mean, you don't break a sweat walking, really, do you? Who breaks a sweat walking?
In the heat? 20 miles?
Yeah.
Well, speaking about Draymond, I have to bring it up.
Yeah.
You know my favorite clip of him?
What?
When Fergie sang the national anthem?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I died looking at Draymond. He's the best part of that.
Yeah. That's a classic.
It still makes me laugh when I think about it.
Yeah, when they show the ISO shot of him, he just starts cracking up.
Everybody else is laughing because of him. He can't even stop.
That was so bad. That has to be one of the worst, like, anthems.
We saw it live, right?
I think so. It was All-Star game, right?
Yeah,
we were watching. We're like, what the hell is this? Yeah, this guy, same thing we thought, right? Everyone thought, like, they're not going to do it again. But they blew him out today.
Yeah.
So that one's 2-1, too. I think all these teams will make a comeback. I don't know.
Even the Cavs series is interesting. And then, SGA, Denver. I think Denver's going to pull that one out.
Do you think Denver's going to beat OKC?
Yeah.
They're up now.
Yeah. I think Denver's got that one.
Weird series.
Yeah, and I think T-Wolves. This is gonna be
if
T-Wolves.
Steph doesn't
Denver.
play.
Yeah, if Steph's not playing, they're out. Especially the way that Draymond with all of this, right? Like
this recent game was 5 points. So if they had Steph, it would have made a huge difference. So
next playoffs, we're gonna do a tally of how wrong you guys.
How wrong we are.
Right? We talk about it with such confidence, right? Nah, we usually not this.
I'm in the Leafs are proving people wrong.
Right?
How do you feel about the
Leafs?
Leafs?
Hockey, right? We keep saying this is our year, right? This is our year.
But like, I don't want you to say it because I don't want you to jinx it.
Yeah. I get super.
This is our year. That's all I'm gonna say it again.
I mean, this team is actually playing with heart. Man.
Yeah,
it's like you see
so
it.
Good.
That's all I want. That's all I ever asked of the Leafs. Just lay it out on the floor,
Even
man.
your mom was watching it, and she's like, "It's such a good game."
Everyone's tuned in, man. When I saw the games are good.
I saw a bunch of these kids talking about, oh, the Leafs do this to us every year, right? And I'm watching them like, bro, you're like 19, right? Like this hasn't been happening to you for 30 years, right? Like you've seen
but
like
then you
some
saw the
okay
guy run
hockey
behind him, right? He's like, Leafs are fine.
But yeah, this team, like even Max Pacioretty, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, the veteran presence, and he's actually out here playing like a enforcer somewhere, right? Like that's kind of cool, right?
Big body, yeah.
Yeah, you see Riley, you saw Marner have a game-winning goal the other day, right? Like there's, even when Leafs are losing this year, I feel different about the Leafs. It always feels like we're that team that's going to pull this one out or make a comeback or whatever, right? It's not like how it was in previous years, right?
Yeah. Even the recent loss, I don't think they should hang their heads. I thought it was a very good game. They played a good game. The only thing I'm looking at, like, with them is Matthews is a little concerning. Like, he's got to get in that goal scoring.
Yeah, he's not scoring, but he's playing good defense, man. And I think
he's not here to play good defense. He's here to put pucks in the back of the net when it matters.
No, for sure. But I think losing Stoli was big, right?
That's the other thing, yeah.
Right? They were rolling with Stoli, right? And then as soon as he went down and Wall comes in, I mean, to his credit, to hold on to that one game.
Tough assignment.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, like, have all that rust and, like, shake that off. And then, like...
He played cold, too. They didn't even warm him up. He just got in net, right?
But I think they didn't warm him up because of concussion protocol, right? I think they
Probably something rule-related, right?
It is, because if somebody is... I think there's something to... If somebody has a concussion, then you have the right to take some shots.
Okay.
Right? And if they don't, then like you just go in net.
So they didn't want to rule that he had a concussion, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he coming back?
I don't know if he's going to be back.
Trending in the right direction, but
if this thing goes to game 7,
was
maybe.
a scary thing.
This thing,
this thing's not going to game 7. Come on, guys.
This
is our year.
Marner just had a kid, and he put like his little, his name's Miles. So he put like an M on his stick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So nice.
Yeah, I know that made you a bigger fan.
Well, first I was like, so he had it on Easter, like on Sunday, and then he played a game on Monday. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like I needed like 6 weeks of Pretender.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, but the last time somebody had a kid during the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet. Raptors won the championship. Just saying.
That's true.
Look at where he goes.
I didn't know that. Superstition.
Right? Yeah.
Then you got the Oilers.
This is our year. This is our year.
The Oilers are making a bunch of comebacks too, man.
Oh,
they just
the
keep
Oilers
going
are
down.
sick, man. Oilers
They
are
almost
sick.
had another one. They ended up losing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs been really good.
They've been real good. Do you see this Bud Crawford and Canelo fight?
Yeah, I heard about that before.
Yeah.
When's it's coming up?
They
soon?
announced it. I didn't read it, but like I was actually, this is a boxing fight I'm excited for, man.
That's a huge one, man.
Right? Like when's the last time? Well, the last time I was excited, honestly, me personally, for a Canelo fight was against Triple G.
Yeah,
right.
That was a good one too, though.
And the way Bud Crawford annihilated Errol Spence,
yeah,
right. Like it makes it seem like he's, Yeah. So to me, this fight, I'm leaning more towards Bud Crawford. Right.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, if there's
Canelo's
it'll
a
be
bigger
a good
guy,
one.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be the person to take him down.
Yeah. But I think that's it for sports. Let's move on to off topic.
Yeah, so our first story is going to be about Lady Gaga.
Okay, so Lady Gaga put on a free performance in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. And it was an historic event because it's the largest solo concert by a female artist in music history that's ever been put on. There was an estimated 2.1 to 2.5 million people that came to it.
2.5?
Yeah, and the show was also broadcast live. So the aim of it was to like boost tourism, boost their their economy and cultural engagement, all of that.
Yeah.
So we have a small clip of what the concert looked like.
Where is this?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Rio de Janeiro.
What the hell is the point of going? If you're all doing that.
That's cool. You still hear the live music.
That.
But yeah, so the show was successful, but like during it, there was a attempted terror plot. Some people were arrested because they had planned to attack the concert using explosives, targeting the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay. Yeah.
And they actually never told Lady Gaga until after she got off stage. So they handled it. They stopped the terror threat.
Yeah.
But they did know about it. So do you think that, firstly, would you ever attend a concert with 2 million people?
No.
Hell no.
No?
Hell
Why?
No. Hell no.
2 million?
Yeah.
I think like
200 people is too much.
yeah, man. 2.5 million. I don't see the point of being there. I really don't. Even if they have screens.
I feel like
You can hear the music live. That's the point. And these people, she hasn't been in Brazil, I think, in over 12 years. So people were excited to see her.
And she has a large like LGBT fan base, right?
Yeah.
So.
no, it's definitely wrong for terror plots.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It doesn't.
that's scary.
Yeah, that's scary. Like I think like outside of like just 2.5 million people, like concerts aren't really my thing personally, right? Because I don't know, the older I've gotten, I don't like large crowds.
Yeah.
I'd rather even just, a lot of sports I'd rather even just sit and watch at home, and that's just me though, right?
Yeah.
I know that's not everybody, right? Or I'd go, to a bar with the boys, catch a couple games, right? Have a couple beers, but like I'm not one to like, go sit courtside or, go live.
I mean,
That's
courtside would be nice.
Courtside would be dope, right? But no, that's not happening, right? But honestly, for me, these large crowds just feel like it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But,
And I feel like there's more, I guess, likelihood that something dangerous like that can happen. There can be a terror threat. Like even the Raptors parade a few years ago, there was, I think, estimated 1 million people that was there.
And look what happened.
There was gunshots. There was gunshots, though, right? Like people take advantage of these moments when there's large crowds.
For sure.
Yeah.
Remember that Vegas?
I was gonna say, remember the Vegas shooting?
Yeah.
That was a country concert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he killed over 50 people, right?
Yeah, it was somewhere in the 40s or 50s, but that was wild, man. Imagine those poor people, man. You're in this massive crowd and there's somebody sitting in a hotel room just picking people off.
And he was like a trained sniper.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like large crowds, man.
I agree.
Of any
we
kind.
talked about this before, like movie theaters and
I
stuff
hate
before.
large crowds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like as a guy or even as a dad, when you're out in public, like constantly just surveying
over your shoulder.
Anytime you're in large crowds, especially, right? You're constantly.
It sucks because like a lot of people like enjoying them, right? And even this concert, probably. It's unfortunate. You always have to. That's always a fear in your mind now.
Yeah.
Like shit.
Not only like we're talking about just specifically like mass shootings and stuff and terrorist attacks. Imagine if like people start trampling people over or push like
there's that too. Yeah, his concert, right? That was wild.
Yeah, nah, man.
Yeah.
I don't go to concerts. You guys can if you want to. That's not my thing.
I like organized concerts where you have
in a venue.
seat. Yeah.
Through a metal detector.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to this.
That's wild though. There's no security probably either, right?
I think it was on a beach. It looked
It
like
was
it was
on a beach. It was on a beach, yeah.
Damn.
It's crazy.
But okay, let's move on. So you guys have heard of mouth tapes, right? Like for sleeping and
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one guy was wearing them.
Oh,
yeah,
that
so that's like a whole
the routine.
Yeah.
So there's this book called Jaws. It's not about the shark.
Okay.
Story of a hidden epidemic. So apparently, breathing through your mouth can lead to so many health issues, not just like oral issues. So people with underdeveloped jaws, crooked teeth, breathing issues, sleep apnea are all affected through mouth breathing.
Okay.
To a point where like they did a study with twins, and they would show how one twin was a mouth breather, one was a nose breather, and they would show how their face structure would change. So these are identical twins, genetic makeup, but like look at one looks a little bit, her facial appearance has changed over time. So what happens is you get an elongated face, a receded chin and jawline.
They're twins, eh?
Yeah. They're twins. Arched palate, they open their mouth. And then all of that can lead to like health issues, like chronic diseases, like cognitive issues.
Yeah.
It's crazy, mouth breathing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, I feel like, so common.
Yeah.
But it's so gimmicky, that tape. Like have you guys ever tried to use it?
I've never used it.
Are you guys mouth breathers though?
I don't know.
I don't think I am.
I feel like it's hard to know.
Yeah.
I don't think I am.
But yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think when I'm sleeping, if I'm really tired or if I've had a couple drinks, then I feel like I'll just like, I don't know what can happen, but I'll wake up in the morning with a little bit of a dry mouth. I walked into that one, eh?
Yeah.
No, I feel like that's when I'll wake up in the morning and feel like my mouth is dry, so I know that I slept with my mouth open. But I did see this. I don't know if you guys saw it, like the TikTok trend of like people talking about this kind of situation where they're talking about how you should. But that's where this whole thing started before even that influencer did the whole thing.
I just seen him rubbing bananas on his face.
Oh my
God. But I'm like Sukfir. I think she's at Walmart or something. She's like, you won't believe what I see, right? She sees something. I think it's called hostage tape or something like that.
It's such
right?
a weird name for it.
She calls me just to make fun of it, right? And I'm like, well, I've heard of that. I was like, why don't you grab it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she buys it, right? She brings it home, right? I was like, let me try this thing, right?
Yeah.
So I put it on. First of all, like I have a mustache and a beard, right? So I was like, maybe it's designed in a way where it's not gonna hurt me. I'm just gonna slap this thing on my face, right?
No.
I put it on. Wake up the next morning, it does rip out a couple of your hairs when you peel it off.
Yeah.
And second, when you put it on, you have this inkling that you want to like move your mouth around,
like
right?
it's not comfortable, right?
It's not comfortable at all. But like I'm a very good sleeper.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but I could sleep pretty much anywhere. I could just knock out on command. So it didn't bother me like that. But that thing's still sitting on my end table. I'm not using it.
Full
Right?
pack. You get 30 in a pack.
Yeah.
You used one.
Yeah.
Oh, did you feel any different in the morning?
Was it a better sleep? You're a good sleeper though. So
I just knock out. I would realize if I did it for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I think there is this thing. I've even heard Rogan talk about it because he does the whole thing where you put the mouth guard and then he puts it like over it because he grind your teeth and stuff like that. It does get your jawline all messed up over years.
It changes
though.
your face shape.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Right, over like decades, right?
Yeah.
But like you saw a lot of these kids trying it probably because they think it's going to give them like a strong jaw or whatever, right? So I don't know. Right? I don't know if it's going to realign your jaw or something.
I mean, those twins look pretty crazy.
Yeah.
She showed.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, if you do sleep with your mouth open, I think you should.
Imagine me putting that thing on. Rip off my whole beard. I don't know if I'm gonna try that.
No. But like people wear mouth guards because they grind their teeth and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy.
All right. Next we got Rick Ross.
So Rick Ross was on a podcast recently and he expressed some openness to ending his feud with Drake and saying that it was never really that serious. We have a clip of...
Now, you can stop me if I'm wrong. What was the root cause of the falling out with Drake? Was it... someone had told me it was because of the way he had treated French on a record. Is that...
I mean, I spoke on that on the record I released. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that shit, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all got classics together.
If it's real, if real is gonna stay real. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Was it something really deep? Nah, that though. But if it's real, it's real, and that's what it is.
Could that ever be something you could ever see, like you guys talking it out? And you guys have so many classics together, such a long history together.
You never know if it
Send me a bottle of Luke Belaire, especially the white one. You know,
the white bottle, yeah,
the
white bottle
go for any of these young out here.
Especially if it's a Magnum.
Send me a white Bel Air bottle, and I'll take a picture with you, because that white Bel Air bottle is the, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, now you can stop me if I'm wrong. What?
I mean, seems like this guy's pockets are hurting.
Yeah, I feel like he just wants to publicize his alcohol bottle.
Or
he wants the whole Kendrick thing to happen to him.
Or I saw him at concerts after this whole beef was happening, performing Drake songs. He has all of his hits are with Drake. And he probably started realizing like it was pretty good when I was making music with
like, what am I gonna perform now?
Yeah.
Like, even him getting involved, I think, is he wanted clout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He started that whole BBL Drizzy thing.
Yeah.
That was him.
I remember Game when he was like, it's always the fat dudes with skinny legs that started walking out. I don't know what that meant, but it made me laugh. But yeah, why wouldn't he want to squash the beef, right?
Yeah.
Like, he has everything to lose. Why would Drake want to squash the beef, right? Yeah. Didn't he call Drake a certified?
Yeah,
you know, like he was saying that he was the one that was saying it.
Yeah.
What was Drake saying about him?
I think he said like one line,
so not
like
much,
he's turning 50. Why is he part of this? Which is true. Like, why was he part of it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Drake's not gonna look at that and be like, I want to squash beef with this guy.
No. It's not in his best interest.
Yeah, he put his nose in that Kendrick beef, and he like danced on just continue to dance on Drake's grave, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
To be like, I'm not after somebody who's made so many records with you, right? And if you see what Drake's been doing lately, he's been talking about even that thing that happened with Khaled, where Khaled was like, he's gonna drop a record or an album or something. What was he saying with 2 Drake features?
He's like, must be Drake Bell. It's not me, right?
Yeah. So I feel like Drake has, and rightfully so, he noticed that there's a bunch of people that didn't stand up for him. Yeah. Right? And he's not going to come out here and like want to squash things. He's going to be like, all right, man, you were on that side, right? And instead of staying out of it, right? Or you picked a side.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not cool, right?
Yeah. Like, do you think you can even squash a rap beef if someone doesn't admit they're wrong?
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can talk about it till the cows come home, but like, in rap beef, eventually over time, people, they grow up, they'll be in the same room, they get over it, right? And then if it's long enough, they'll get back into it, right? Like, you see the stuff that 50 gets into still.
Yeah. 50 is so funny. You see
He's hilarious, man.
Like Diddy's Jurors, and it's just six of him. Oh my God. He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So our last story is, did you guys see that political commentator? She was like a Trump administrator. She was on Fox News.
Oh, I saw this.
Video.
Ideology, or it's not about.
Oh my goodness! Oh my God! We're just gonna get some help here for Kamryn. Let me come back to Lydia while we get some help for Kamryn here. So
she just passed out.
Lydia, the. President, we're gonna go to a break right
going on with the news.
So not only did he not help her, he's tried to continue with, I don't know what protocol is when that does happen. Like, I've never worked in
screw news. Protocol.
Yeah, but if she's falling, you just even lend a hand.
There is no protocol. You immediately go see if she's okay.
Caught her.
He's just
something,
like,
right?
He's like, oh well, that happened.
Yeah.
So
by the way, she was saying this one.
Yeah.
That this, and then they're like, cut it. And then he cut it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but she said she fell. She said it was a health scare, but then she was saying it was just she was in dehydration. Like, she just needed.
I've been dehydrated before, but I don't think that's ever
like that.
Maybe lightheaded. She might have not eaten. Like, you don't know.
That.
Like,
we don't know, right? But like, the guy continuing to just be like, we're not gonna let this.
That's wild, right? This guy didn't care, man.
Yeah. So that's what everyone's saying. Like, why didn't he try to help her?
Was that the whole thing? Damn.
What?
Like, that everyone felt just how I felt.
Yeah,
like, what the hell's wrong with this?
What
man?
else are you gonna feel? What else are you gonna feel there, man? Somebody collapses in front of you, right? Like imagine if you just fell over and I was just like,
and they're just continuing.
and
yeah.
next we got right.
Like he tried, and then the producer said, "Actually, we're gonna cut to commercial." Then he stopped.
Yeah.
Like even if they have protocol, like no protocol there. Just go deal
There
with the
is
situation.
no protocol, bro. What's the protocol gonna be? If you're
Always-
going
always deliver.
Yeah, if anyone around you faints, gets
all
shots, gets shot, anything happens,
Yeah.
you continue doing your job. That's
By
not
all means.
protocol.
Yeah.
Nobody
wild.
says that kind of stuff.
This guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
That's all we got for off topic.
All right.
Okay, let's move on to the questions. So we'll start with, if you could instantly master any skill or subject, what would it be and why?
Interesting.
Instantly match any skill.
Master.
Master.
Instantly master any skill,
Mhm.
right? So what can you easily monetize?
That's what we always think.
That's always what, yeah.
Well, what else are you gonna do here?
Spanish.
Learn a
what-
language.
That's
I
what you would
always
waste.
tell him. I'm like, we need to learn a language.
You can go learn a language.
Yeah, but this could be any skill.
I know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
I don't know. What the hell? What would you master?
Maybe singing.
Singing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, you can
You're a
monetize
really
the
good
hell out of
singer.
that.
You can monetize that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's tough.
I was just thinking cooking. That's the one thing that came to my mind. I don't know why.
And then be a chef on a cooking show?
Maybe.
Or have your own restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, I used to watch so much Food Network.
Yeah.
I used to love that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't cook.
Yeah, don't learn anything.
Yeah. I mean, what are skills, right? Like if you're looking athletically, you're looking at sports and stuff, right?
I
If
think
you're
I'd go
looking-
that way, yeah.
If you're looking intellectually, what's an intellectual skill you want to master?
I was thinking coding.
Math,
Something computer
coding.
science. Yeah.
It's hard because like the evolution of AI and where everything is going, you don't even know what's going to be obsolete.
Might not
or
need that, yeah.
Right? Like because theoretically, coding's going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
I think I would just go that route, like basketball, best jumper ever, or something like that.
I feel like we're missing something here, and anyone watching this can be you idiots. You idiots! All you guys want to do is have a good jump shot. That's all you want to master.
Maybe
golf,
investing.
Oh, like
you need to master.
Yeah, but
investing.
a lot of investing is gambling.
Yeah.
Right. Like
So mastering gambling.
Yo, mastering gambling. There's a lot of money in that too.
and a lot of money to lose too.
If you're a master, you're never gonna lose.
Oh, you got me there, bro.
I'll go with yeah.
You're gonna go with
Best
gambling.
jump
I'll go with. Yeah, I'll go with. We'll stick with jump shots.
Okay, let's move on to the last question. So we'll do a ranking question. So rank the following Indian foods without knowing what's next. So the first one is sog.
Sog. I don't like sog.
I know that's like a 5 for you. You don't like it, eh? I love sog.
Same.
I feel like everyone likes sog except for me.
You want to do like 4?
Yeah, sure.
Just for me?
All right,
That's
fine.
nice.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say do 5.
The next one is butter chicken.
Butter chicken.
That's 1 for this guy.
That's pretty high though for you two.
Yeah.
1 or 2.
One.
You want to do 1?
1 or 2.
Yeah, we can
We
do
always
1.
leave one. That always happens.
Just
All right,
do
fine,
one.
we'll do
then.
1.
Yeah.
Let's do 1. Butter chicken number 1.
Okay, the next one is the next one is aloo parathe.
Oh, that's pretty.
That's like 2.
That could
Yeah,
be 2.
that's 2. That's
Yeah.
2.
That's not bad. 2.
Okay, and the next one is chicken biryani.
Chicken biryani. I don't know. It's not something I eat that much, but
3.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it is
3.
really good. Yeah.
3.
3?
Three.
3. What's our last
Okay,
option?
and your last, we're just gonna be 5. Chicken tikka masala.
It's not
It's
bad.
okay, we have butter chicken.
Yeah,
It's like
I'm
nothing.
fine with that list.
That's a good list.
That's
man.
the quickest list we've ever done.
Yeah, you guys decided that really.
Because we're experts.
Know what you like.
And with that, it's a wrap. We'll catch you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.